Starting with a pore minimizing matte primer, for acne prone and textured skin, this step is non negotiable. It helps smooth out uneven texture, reduces the appearance of pores, and controls excess oil. If the skin isn't prepped correctly, no amount of foundation will sit well on top. I am focusing the primer more on areas where there's visible texture and oiliness instead of applying it heavily all over. This keeps the base balanced and prevents unnecessary product buildup. Next, I'm going in with an orange corrector. You can see there's redness, acne marks, and some deeper pigmentation across the skin. Now, a very common misconception is that redness should always be corrected with green. Green works well for very light surface level redness, but when you're dealing with acne marks, there's usually depth and a mix of red and slightly darker tones. That's where orange works better. It doesn't just cancel, it balances the tone so the skin looks more even once foundation is applied. I am applying the corrector only on the areas that actually need it using a brush for precision. This is important because over applying corrector can make the base look heavy and harder to blend later. After this, I am layering a skin tone concealer on top. This step brings the corrected areas back closer to her natural skin tone so the foundation doesn't have to do all the work. Notice how controlled the blending is here. I am not dragging or overworking the product because that can shift the corrector underneath and reduce its effectiveness. At this stage, I am also checking if any areas need a little more correction before moving forward. It's always better to build in thin layers rather than applying too much at once. Moving on to foundation, I'm using a buildable coverage formula. This gives me flexibility to even out the skin gradually instead of applying a heavy layer all at once. I am applying it in thin layers and focusing more on blending rather than coverage in one go. Also notice the technique. I'm using a pressing and slight gliding motion, especially over the corrected areas. This ensures the product sits on top of the correction rather than mixing into it. If you drag too much here, you can end up undoing the correction and bringing the redness back. Once the foundation is applied, I go in with a dense brush to blend everything out further. This step is not about adding more product, it's about refining the base, removing any excess, and helping the makeup settle into the skin for a more natural finish. If I feel like certain areas need more coverage, I go back in with very minimal product and correct only those spots. This keeps the base lightweight while still giving good coverage. Then I'm adding a cream blush to bring back some warmth and freshness into the skin. After correction and foundation, the skin can sometimes look a bit flat, so this step helps restore that natural flush. Next, I'm using a brightening concealer in targeted areas like under the eyes and high points of the face. This helps add dimension and lift without making the base look flat or overdone. I keep this step minimal, especially on textured skin, because too much product in these areas can crease or look heavy. Finally, I'm setting everything with powder. I'm focusing more on areas that tend to crease or get oily instead of setting the entire face heavily. This helps lock the base in place while still maintaining a skin like finish. This entire routine is focused on understanding the skin first, correcting only where needed, layering products strategically, and using techniques that maintain the integrity of each step. That's what helps achieve a base that looks even, long lasting, and still like real skin, even when working with acne scars, redness, and texture.